I just feel very proud, and it's just a privilege to play. But, you know, I didn't never really expected to play. You know, it's just something you dream of. It's beautiful, mate.
Gadding comes in, AB decides to bring me on. Now I'm a bit like, Graham Gooch, Mike Gadding, Dickie Bird's the umpire, and I thought, come on.
First ball, Bale is off. He's bowled him. Gadding can't believe it. First ball.
Yeah, I got a bit lucky there, I think, the first one. It's usually just to try and land it somewhere in the right spot, and I'm lucky for Gadd, it sort of hit the footmarks and hit off stump. Yeah, it's always good to see the wicket turning. Hopefully it continues for the rest of the few days.
I played league cricket over here 4 years ago and watched the boys win the Ashes then, and then you thought, well, hopefully one day I could come over and play in an Ashes series over here, and here I am and I'm doing okay.
Shane Warne on a hat-trick. There we go. Fleming took the last one. Merv Hughes before him.
Yes! Oh, he's got him! Is it Warne? Yes, he has. He's got him. It's a hat-trick. Yes, he's gone. He's gone. It's a hat-trick. That's a hat-trick to Shane Warne. A great moment in his career.
And when I see it, I just remember listening to Tony Greig. Yes, well, he's got him. What a moment. He's going off, and we were celebrating, and look, it was just a special time. It was great.
The tough moments in a test match when it's up in the air, it's there to win, or whether it's just belief that somebody wants the ball to come to them to change a game, to take that one-handed screamer, to throw the stumps down and run someone out, or to stand there and say, you're not going to get me out. I don't care if I'm here all day, you're not getting me out. I just think we've got that toughness about us, and no matter what the situations, we still believe we can win.
Getting divorced was a difficult time in my life and for my children, and it was my fault. So I have to live with that for the rest of my life. So that wasn't easy, and that was the lowest point in my life, and then had to sort of drag myself off the canvas to get out there and play against, in 2005, and play against a quality England side.
Amazing. Amazing. This man is incredible.
Just momentarily gone quiet.
It was so quiet. It was a bit eerie about how quiet it was, because I'd stand at the top of a mark, and normally you can hear, someone, hey, whatever they were saying, and when you're at the top of the mark, it was suddenly a hush, because they thought, is this going to be the ball that's going to take the 700th? And it was an eerie silence of 90,000 people. It was like pretty amazing.
Got him! There it is! Wicket number 700! And they can't catch him! Shane Warne through the gate with his Scott Streets.
The media side of people and that side wanted to know everywhere I spent my time. And I sort of resented it a lot. But over time, I understand how it works, I understand there's a job to do, I understand clickbait, I understand all that a bit more.
Me, the mistakes I've made, which I'm not proud of, but, look, it shows I'm human, and I make mistakes, and I'll probably make some more in the future as well. But that's happened. There's no use regretting what's happened. There's no use, you can't change it. So you just got to live with it and try and deal with it.
I'm not saying the modern day player doesn't play because they still love the game, but the money in sport these days is so much that it's hard not to think of it as a job. When we played, and I always thought cricket was a passion. I loved playing cricket. It was sort of like my hobby. My job as I got older was to be the best parent I can. And so cricket...
It's a work in progress, isn't it?
Yeah. I am a good parent. I mightn't have been a good husband, but I was a good parent. Being told as an 18-year-old that you're not good enough, you can go two ways, I reckon. You can get determined, which is what I did, or you can sort of say, this is all too hard, and blame everyone else and become a victim and just fall off the wayside. I think everyone is good at something. You've got to find out what you're good at. I was good at bowling leg spin. I was a late developer, but I worked pretty hard to try and be the best version of myself I could be, and I think I got there. I think when you sort of grow up, you think, fame could be pretty cool. And, when I was, I think, 21 or 22 years of age, I had my first, I suppose, exposure to it. And there's no school you can go to learn about it. You just sort of got to try and do the best you can and deal with it, being followed by half a dozen photographers every day or everywhere you go.
Every relationship is different, and it's whatever works for you two is the right relationship. And for us, we were great, and it was the happiest time of my life. I was madly in love with Elizabeth, and we're still friends now. We still speak to each other all the time. I think our kids speak to each other. Her son Damien speaks to my daughter Summer. So it was great fun. Unfortunately, it just fizzled out. It was nothing that I did wrong or she did wrong. It was just one of those things.
It's the easiest thing to say, there'll never be another Shane Warne, because we say that about a lot of people. But there won't be.
Oh, beautiful ball. That's a wonderful delivery from Shane Warne.
The blonde hair, the zinc, the flared trousers, the sledging, the mystery balls, the flippers, the way he played the game of cricket. He was the greatest spin bowler that's ever played the game.
And he's got him straight away. Well, he really is a good competitor.
You knew that if Australia was in strife, he looked around and said, give Warnie the ball. He'd be saying, give me the ball, and something would always happen.
When he was at the end of his run and he was spinning that ball from one hand into the other, and he was staring you down in a packed crowd at Lord's or the MCG or wherever, it was absolutely box office stuff.
That's bowling. That's good, clever bowling.
He was the perfect guy to illustrate what cricket was about. His legacy will be the thousands and thousands and thousands of children around the world that want to bowl like Warnie.
If on that very rare occasion you got runs against Shane Warne, he would be the first one to knock on your dressing room door and say, blooming well played today, mate, that was outstanding.
He enjoyed just being in the competition, whether it was actually out there on the ground or up in the commentary box.
You only had to listen to half an hour of his commentary to feel how genuine he was about that art and the game itself.
And that's it. Australia are the World Cup champions of 1999.
I'm not sure there is a more dominant figure in my lifetime in sport, if you took one person, than Shane Warne.
If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools.
That's a wonderful delivery from Shane Warne.
If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on to when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on.
Oh, big appeal there for LBW. He's got him. He's given that LBW. Warne has struck again.
If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving moment with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
In your mind's eye, still you see him, standing calm atop his mark. Ball in hand, it's fizzing as he looks around the park.
He waits another heartbeat,
points his fielders where to go, It's all part of the magic act. It's all part of the show. His walk begins deliberate. It builds towards its height. He lets it go. The rest we know. Has there ever been a better sight? But now it's gone forever. Our sport will never be the same. And so we ponder how to honour a true icon of the game. For where to start with Shane Keith Warne, that otherworldly gift? We could talk about the wicked spin, the endless flight, the drift. We could talk about the wickets and the bluster and their guile. We could talk about the character, the look, the hair, the smile. We could talk about charisma, a bush ballad come to life. We could talk about the dramas and the trouble and the strife. We could talk about the slider and the leg breaks and the flipper. We can contemplate a world in which he was full-time Aussie skipper. But single takes won't encapsulate this giant of the sport. A Melbourne kid with cricket nous that simply can't be taught. We're reflecting on an icon here, Australia's finest sprig of wattle. This is Shane Warne, the king, the lightning in a bottle. For such a man, we need to go beyond the one-off traits, where history meets destiny and a wider legacy awaits. Think miracles and magic, think spin bowling redefined, think generations spellbound, think unique, one of a kind. Think mastery and sleight of hand unmatched in cricket's lore. Think phenomenon, a genius who allowed an art to soar. We can marvel at the theatre, a crowd expectant. Still, we're all in awe and in his palm, the game bent to his will. We're watching and we're waiting as our showman owns the stage. We're witnessing the golden glow of Australia's golden age. Then each of us will zero in on moments we hold dearest, the balls that somehow shaped our lives, the ones we still see clearest. Richardson and Cullinan, you remember who was batting? Gibbs and Strauss and Stewart, and you always treasure Gadding. A hat-trick in the Ashes, a World Cup spun his way, the comeback in Sri Lanka, that final Boxing Day. So take your pick and go there in the quiet of your mind. Just close your eyes and conjure. This is what he leaves behind. See, the wickets we can tally up, but the emotion we can't measure, the feelings that he stirred in us, the simple sense of pleasure. A chubby blonde in cricket whites, he took a ball and twirled. For 15 years, he cast his spell, bewitched the cricket world. He was just a bloke, extraordinary, but fallible and flawed. It meant he felt like one of us, made him all the more adored. Which is why he's left us grappling, left the cricket world defeated. From Launceston to the long room, we've all been left depleted. But flip that thought and think instead how enriched we are by Warne. Let's salute a pure entertainer, the greatest bowler ever born.
If you were going to write your own tombstone, here lies Shane Warne, he...
Bold Shane. Loved by Brooke, Jackson and Summer.